Hi, in this three-part series, we are going to look at 3 shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita that I personally live by. Though they are succinct and small and short, yet they can put a spotlight on how we can be and how we can live our lives. If you're new here, my name is Dinesh, and along with Bawa, through the Art of Living programs for the last 30 years, we've been able to navigate people through their challenges, realize their dreams, and help people live life with meaning and purpose. Let's delve into the first shloka that I love. This is in chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells Arjuna, Neha Bhikrama Nasho'sti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat na iha abhi krama nasho'sti. Any work which is done out of sincerity, which you honestly do, it can never go waste. Abhikrama nasho'sti pratyavayo na vidyate. There is no adverse effect of that. Then he goes on to say, swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. A little bit of this dharma, this goodness, can take us out of the biggest of fears. Let us delve into this bit by bit. Firstly, honest effort does not go waste. This is as true in the worldly life as it is in our spiritual life. Let's say in the worldly life, you start working out. You are inspired. You saw some of my workout videos on our Blaze membership, and you take up gymming. And you did that for maybe a couple of months. You had a nice trainer and you worked out. And then for whatever reason, you moved away from the habit. You stopped working out. Then the mind goes into, oh, that was such a waste of time. It's better if I had not even started. I started and I did not continue. Such a waste of time. It can never be a waste of time. Even after a few years, if you ever feel again that, okay, I need to start working out, and you get to the gym, your muscles have memory. In just a few days, you will be amazed at how gains can happen. Or if you want to lose, fat or whatever your fitness goals are, how quickly you can get aligned because you had started, you had done something in the past, sincerely. There is a story that Steve Jobs shares where he mentions how when he was a youngster in college, he had done a calligraphy course. And years later, when he was doing the architecture of Apple, he said, that training had helped me. In the intervening years, he had thought, oh, that was such a waste of time. I enjoyed it, but well, it didn't have much impact, or it didn't make much sense. But he says, all those aesthetics, all that beauty that I learned from calligraphy, I could transfer it into the architecture of the Apple computer. So it can never go waste. Any learning that you had done, any good thing, any sattvic endeavor that you have undertaken will never go waste. And a little bit of this dharma. Now, what is dharma? Any meditation or wisdom, knowledge, self-knowledge, or selfless work. You do something good, an act of kindness. It can never go waste. You have no idea the kind of ripple effects it can create. That little bit of your kindness, you praise someone, you say thank you to someone, you help someone, and how that person in his way helped someone else, and you started a chain reaction of kindness. It is said that when you do something dharmic like this, even it's a little bit, the level of your consciousness raises. Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar says, you can never go back to square one. Consciousness only moves forward. You may go back 7 steps, 8 steps back, but you will always be ahead of when you started it. I like to give an example. Let's say you did the Art of Living program. You experienced the Sudarshan Kriya, you experienced some yoga or meditation, and when you were doing it, you immediately thought of those 3 or 4 friends of yours that would benefit hugely from this knowledge, from these techniques, whatever they are going through in their lives. And then you come out and you call them up, or you meet them and you tell them about it. Like we do with any movie. You see a brilliant movie and you want to come back and do a story on it or post it somewhere, call up your friends and tell them, or you go to a nice restaurant, you want to do the same, share it with everyone you love and like. And you do that about the meditation program. And all you get in return is ridicule from one person, indifference from the other, or just someone is very neutral about the whole thing. What does our mind go into? Mind says, oh, it was such a waste of time talking to them about this. Hasn't this happened with us? Whenever we are pitching something about ourselves, it could be some product, it could be some service, especially something spiritual, let us say. And when the reaction or the response from the other person is not what you expected, then immediately the mind goes into, oh, it was such a waste of time, such a waste of energy. Never. It can never go waste. It can never have an adverse effect. This is what Lord Krishna tells Arjuna. I was reading through a study in marketing where they say that if somebody has to take a meaningful decision or undertake a bigger buy, they have to have, let's say, 13 touch points. They say anything from 12 to 20, let's assume 13 touch points. They have to hear about it from someone, they have to see that product or that service being used somewhere, or an ad of it in between your reels or on television. When that happens, that is when they do the meaningful buy, meaningful decision. Now let us say you tell someone about this meditation program that you did and you got ridicule in return. Maybe you are the second or the third touch point. Every person goes through these different stages where first there could be indifference, then there could be rejection, there could be ridicule, there could be neutrality, there could be curiosity, consideration, acceptance, and then action. There are many stages that a person goes through to end up into that meaningful decision, that buy. So you could have been the third, and that person will say yes ultimately and do that good thing when the 13th touch point happens. So would you say yours was the time waste? No. Yours was the third. You pushed the marker a little bit forward. Because of your telling, because of your sharing, it helped that person move maybe from indifference to ridicule. Ridicule is also that person engaging. Maybe they are in their comfort zone and they don't want to bring about that change in their life. Over time, as experiences build up in life, then you are much more open. You could go into curiosity, into consideration, into acceptance. Yes, I need to bring about a change in myself. I could do with a little bit more happiness in my life. And then that acceptance and that action can happen. So know that any sincere effort done with good intentions will never go waste. It will never have any adverse ill effect. And the best part is, a little bit of this can take us off our fears, our insecurities. Fear is one of the biggest catalyst for so many other things that we suffer through in life. Fear can trigger anger. Fear can trigger a sense of control. It can trigger blame and complain, either blaming others or blaming oneself. It can bring sadness. It can bring greed and jealousy within us. So that's why fear is a fundamental state of mind or an emotion which can open a plethora of these negative emotions in us. That's why in the Indian tradition, in the Indian pantheon of gods and goddesses, they may be having many hands and many things in their hands, but one hand will be like this. You know what this means? This means Abhaya Mudra, Abhaya Hasta. Abhaya. This is where you can truly let go of your fears. You come in the presence of a higher power, a divine love, in the presence of the master, in the presence of your favorite deity, where you feel that energy, that force. When you come in contact with that force, that fear drops away. It is said a little bit of this can take us off the mightiest of fears. Mahato bhayat, trayate mahato bhayat. So let us say you meditate, and where you didn't have a flashy experience or something that you had read in a book, you should see some light, some chakras should open, you should feel something, and you didn't feel that. You just felt very nice. And you do this for a month or two, you feel nothing much is happening, and then you leave the practice. Right? But few months later or years later, you were in a soup and just that prayer came up, or that remembrance of that time when you used to meditate, that came up, and it connected you with that energy. It suddenly pulls you out of that state of low and gets you to do something good. You see this? So little bit of this dharma can take us off the mighty fear. Trayate mahato bhayat. That is why our meditations, our spiritual practices, they are called sadhana. It's a beautiful word. It means sadhan, that wealth which will be with us forever. So good actions, dharma only compounds. It can never decay. Any act of goodness, kindness, any meditation, any self-work, inner work that you do with yourself, it can only push you forward, because consciousness only moves forward. This shloka is so beautiful. Neha Bhikrama Nasho'sti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Jai Gurudev.